Welcome back, everybody. Here we are Wednesday with a brand new name for our podcast, Talking Nerdy with Jimmy and Karlo. Thank you all for joining us on this episode 5, The Podcast Strikes Back. Here we talk about Star Wars, but first we're going to turn it over to Karlo, where he wants to talk about something. Karlo, what is it you want to bring up before we start?
Get into Star Wars and all that. I saw a movie over the weekend. Actually, I saw it yesterday. That really kind of blew me away. It's a very good movie. I didn't expect much from it. I saw the trailers for it a while back, and I thought, okay, I'll check it out. But it's a movie. The movie I'm talking about is, as you can see in my background, is The Mitchells versus the Machines.
I've never heard of that.
It's the producers are Lord and Miller, the same people that brought you Spider-Verse,
Ooh.
the Lego movie, Cloudy Chance of Meatballs, and 21 and 22 Jump Street.
That is a good resume right there.
Yeah. But they didn't direct or write this film. They did on the previous one. The director for this film is, I forgot his name, but he's the guy who did Gravity Falls.
Oh.
So it's a lot of really good names and a lot of good. So I didn't really expect much from it, but it's such a good movie. Oh my god!
What's the premise about?
It's about a family going on a road trip, and then a robot apocalypse happened, and they had to save the world. It is a very cliche and premise. You know what I mean? It's very simple, but it's the execution that really makes it. It's they know what they are, they embrace it. The main character is the girl behind me. Her name is Katie, and she's a movie nerd, and she's an aspiring film creator. And the basic really conflict in the film is her connection with her dad, who's your stereotypical boomer type who doesn't know how to use a computer.
Yes, my favorite
who
type.
Loves nature. Yeah, who loves nature, and the themes of this film is really good because it does also have like people spending too much time in front of the screens, but also understanding that that is today's society, and it's kind of like it finds a medium balance. And the jokes are hilarious. It's funny the whole way around. It's the same energy you feel like the Lego movie, where it's just jokes after jokes after jokes, and the animation is the same tier as Spider-Verse. It's such a great movie, and I highly recommend everybody watching it.
So highly recommend. Where can you watch it, Karlo?
It's on Netflix right now. It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's on Netflix, and I give it about an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
Good. It's one of the best movies, animated movies I've seen in a while, like recently.
What was the last good anime movie you saw before this?
Soul was really good.
I heard Soul was pretty good.
The thing about Pixar and Disney films right now is they're very conservative the way they animate stuff. They have this formula that works for them, which is fine. But this film, if you've seen Spider-Verse, right? Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
Oh, of course, it's amazing.
And the way it was animated is very new and unique, and it's very creative the way it's animated. It's the same way as this film. What I really appreciate when you notice watching it is the human characters has that Spider-Verse kind of 2D effect, but it feels like they were a little bit more handmade and hand-drawn type of design and animation.
Yeah.
While the robot characters is very kind of like how Pixar is. It's very, very 3D and very composed, and it works really well to contrast, especially during the big action scenes. Which there's a lot of action scenes in this too. It's really fun. The cast is really good, and I highly recommend it. It's you should watch it. It's about an hour and a half movie, and it's and the thing that really makes this movie great is his heart. It's at the end of the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, it really hit me. You'll find, because there's four members of the family, and you'll really find someone to relate to, and it really resonates to anyone, I think. And it's such a good movie, to be honest with you, because I know people have this connection with their family, and
Mm-hmm.
the way they did it is so well done.
So the Mitchells versus the Machines. Highly recommend.
Yeah. Yep. Go check
Cool.
it out. You should, Jimmy. You should check it out. Let me know what you think.
I'll add it to my list of shit I need to watch.
You have a
That
lot.
I do have a lot.
You haven't even seen the Bad Batch yet, and we're talking
Bro,
about
I
Star
am
Wars
like
today.
season 1 of Clone Wars right now.
Yeah.
I'm like so far behind.
We'll talk about it later when we talk about when I talk a little about Bad Batch. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna spoil anything. It is episode 1, so it is uh there are some spoilers, but I don't want to spoil.
You
I'll
don't
talk
want to
it
reveal
over.
if anything big happens.
Yeah, I won't reveal anything big, especially when it comes to the plot for it.
Ooh, my
Yeah.
favorite. So recently, yesterday and today was National Star Wars Day. They actually made it California, where today is a national day for California. If
Well,
on
it
my
wouldn't be a national holiday if it's not national.
okay,
It's just
well,
a state holiday, though.
I think it actually is national. Where I saw it, where it's on a national calendar I have. There's days for like national days, so I think it is actually a national day that was proclaimed a national holiday. Yesterday was May the 4th be with you. Today, the unofficial day, Revenge of the 5th. Yeah, I know. Not only
May 5th is Cinco de Mayo, so happy Cinco de Mayo.
happy
everyone.
singing them, but I still recognize it as Revenge of the 5th. Now, Star Wars has
It's
been
May 4th is Star Wars.
uh,
Yeah, but
Star Wars has been a major impact on cinema, TV, pop culture, all that good jazz. When was the first time you saw Star Wars? And did you watch the fourth or did you watch the prequels?
here's no. I watched the original trilogy first. But here's the thing, because my family, my uncles and my dad were huge Star Wars fans,
Hmm.
so I actually watched it when I was little, and I didn't really remember it that much.
Yeah.
When I first watched it, and then I watched it when I was like 4 or 5. I remember I enjoyed it, but I didn't really get that impact. I did
Premise.
love it, the premise. Yeah, I didn't like the story and stuff. And I remember watching the prequels when I was about 12 or 13 years old, in my teenage years.
I remember when
I
they
didn't
came out.
And I remember I thought it was really cool, but I wasn't a huge Star Wars nerd when I first saw it. What really got me into Star Wars was the Clone Wars.
Nice.
So yeah, it was the Clone Wars that really sold me. When it first came out, I did, yeah. So that's what and then I rewatched the original trilogy, and then I appreciate it much more, and then and then and then I just love Star Wars since then.
Yeah, there's always going to be like one part of a franchise that you don't love. For me, it started when I watched it on VHS from my grandfather's garage. I found A New Hope, and I started watching that. I didn't get it either because I was little, but as the years go by, and I got more into Star Wars, I liked Phantom Menace when it first came out. But then again, I was a kid. I dressed as Darth Maul for Christmas. I mean Halloween. And
We would just for
I know.
Christmas.
Hey, you know what? I could actually do that if I wanted to. But
Santa Mall.
the Phantom Mall.
No, Mall Santa.
Mall Santa. Love that. Santa Mall.
Mall Santa. It's like Mall Santa, but it's like Mall Santa. All right, but
I get that.
Sorry.
But what really sold me was a game, Knights of the Old Republic, that really got me further into the lore of Star Wars. And that game was so well done, the way it was written, how the first game, it's a 20-year-old game, so spoilers. You actually play as the main character, and as you get through the game, you realize not many games do this nowadays, that you become the main villain, Revan, which is actually really good that you don't see it coming, and not many games do that often, where you like start as a protagonist and your actions make you all the way to go until you're evil, you're the Darth Revan, and that's what I think needs to happen more in video games, because they don't really do that often. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 took place a couple years after that. It was a hit or miss of some people. I played it on Xbox, but I really loved it. I own the Xbox version as well as on PC because I just have to own every single copy of the exact same version. Even I have Star Wars on VHS, and I have those same movies on DVD, but special edition. So when it comes to everything Star Wars, I literally want to get everything Star Wars. Mostly everything Star Wars.
The Knights of the Old Republic is one of the most well-regarded video games. It's not just a Star Wars video game; it's video games. Period. It's a very good game. I actually haven't played it personally, but
it's so good.
Yeah, I have because at that time I didn't own a console. It was that when it first came out, it was that void where I couldn't afford much.
Mm-hmm.
It was so. But I know about it. I never had a chance. I might go pick it up if it's available for PC or PlayStation. That port.
It's on Steam.
I'll go out and play it. But the thing about Star Wars is it's the fantasy that really gets people, and it's the story, and it's the stories that really resonates for me. The original trilogy was, if you look at it back and break it down, it's very basic. It's a hero's journey story. A lot of inspirations of the old samurai films and old westerns.
And Robin Hood was actually a big factor into that too.
That was George Lucas' big inspirations of those. And then when you go to the prequels, it got a little bit more grand and more epic because it was what Hollywood was at that time, at the 2000s. I love the effects at the time. When the first came out, it was okay, and it was good for its time. And like I said, the prequels didn't really resonate with me because I watched it when I was a teenager, and a lot of the prequels is a lot of politics. There's a lot of politics.
There's a lot of politics into it,
and it never really interest me. When I look back at it, I think I still don't think they are very strong movies, but there are aspects when it comes to lore and all the stories and all the lore building that I really appreciate in the prequels. Mm-hmm. But as a story as a whole, as a movie as a whole, there's a lot of pacing and script and acting issues in that movie that's so hard to just kind of salvage. You know what I mean? Like Ewan McGregor carried the acting in that whole series.
Ewan McGregor played a perfect Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't think anyone that at that time frame could have played a better Obi-Wan Kenobi. Liam Neeson played an excellent Qui-Gon Jinn. He was my favorite character, besides Darth Maul and the Phantom Menace. As years go by, I watched the prequels, and then I grew up, and then the new, what's it called? The post saga, or what do you call that?
The sequels.
The sequels came out, and I liked The Force Awakens for a reason. I watched it like 3 times. There was a reason why I loved it, and then The Last Jedi came out. And then The Rise of Skywalker came out. Those, I've only seen them once. I can't grip it. What the hell happened to this series or this genre?
It is very unfortunate what happened. There was a lot of conflicting creatives that made it really. That made it a disaster. That made the sequels a disaster.
There was a lot of plots that they didn't explain further on the thing, or they just rushed a certain scene in Star Wars movie.
I think the biggest problem is because they didn't have a plan going into it as a trilogy. They went it movie by movie. They wrote the trilogy movie by movie without they didn't go like, hey, we're gonna make a trilogy and this is where we want to end up. Mm-hmm. They made it. Okay, let's make the first one. Let's write that. Okay, what are we gonna do in the sequel? What are we gonna do and after that? And what made it even worse is they switched directors and writers
several times
in the middle of it. Just twice.
Was it just
They went
twice?
from
Thought it was
J.J.
several
Abrams.
times.
It went from J.J. Abrams and then to Johnson. I forget his first name, and then it went back to J.J. Abrams. I think J.J. Abrams had something in his head where he wanted to go, but Johnson on the second on what was the second one?
The Last
Last
Jedi
Jedi. The Last Jedi really threw him for a loop where there was a lot of stuff that didn't really
makes
make
sense.
sense. I think
Work.
I didn't work, and then when it comes to the Rise of Skywalker, it's just blew out of proportions, and they had to try to make a story out of this trilogy that they kind of try to make, and it just didn't work. There was a lot of like you said, a lot of plot holes.
Mm.
I think a lot of retcons and a lot of stuff just it's just bad, you know.
It is what it is at face value. It's a Star Wars movie, and they put past shit in the Star Wars movies. They had so much material, and the one thing I hated about this, the books. There's like
The
187 books that are not canon.
it's extended, yeah, the extended
Yeah, the
universe
extended
books, yeah.
universe. And George is all, no, that's not canon. There was so much material in those books that you could have used. But I digress, but now I think they should go back, and there's going to be a lot more Star Wars movies coming out. I think one of them, they should like focus on like the rise of the Jedi. That's the
There,
first book.
well, the new Obi-Wan, the TV series has been much better than the movies right now. I mean, when you talk about the extended universe, and there's a lot of material there. Here's the thing, though, Jimmy. They are using a lot of the material from the extended universe. They are changing some aspect of it because they are not canon, but they are all going to the shows. Like Admiral Thrawn is from the books, and he's
Yeah.
a big part. He got name dropped in Mandalorian, but he was a big part in Rebels and yeah, in Rebels, and then he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be in the Bad Batch too. I'm pretty sure, but he was a big figure in uh in the books. Also, like the Gray Jedi. That's a big arc for Ahsoka and Kanan and Ezra
Hmm.
in the shows. Is the Force and the gray area of the Force. You know, so they are using elements and they are picking those up, but they are changing it to make it a little bit fit better in the universe they are creating. I understand why they did it. It's just so they can establish uh, the cinematic universe as itself because of money,
Yeah.
which that's the motivation for the corporation that is Disney. But as long as Disney puts the right people in charge of Star
Oh,
Wars,
you'll get good shit like The
you get good
Mandalorian.
shit. Yeah, the
The
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, I love. It's probably my favorite um, Star Wars TV shows that I've seen
Yeah,
so far. That could change when I seen Clone Wars and Rebels, but for right now, Mandalorian got a great story. The pacing is well done. The ending was just amazing. How about you? What do you think of the Mandalorian as a whole?
Mandalorian is one of my favorite Star Wars uh shows, obviously. But uh I I have I have my
We
top five.
You do have a list.
Here's my top five. Okay, Mandalorian is on my top five. So my fifth one. I'm gonna start from the top
Top
because
from the bottom. Okay.
is Rebels.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about why.
Yeah. Of course.
Here's the thing about Rebels. Rebels is a Disney XD show, which is targeted more to the younger audience. It's a very kids friendly station.
Hmm.
That's when it was made. But uh, it is very. There are aspects on Star Wars that's very just for like you can say like, oh, this is for kids, you
Yeah.
know. But there are moments and there are times when it gets so deep and so dark that you're just like, okay, this is Star Wars. It's beautiful. And actually Rebels has my favorite Star Wars moment. of all time. It's I know you haven't seen it, so this is gonna be a spoiler
Yeah.
probably, but it's what it's I think it's a 10-year-old show, so it's on you, Jimmy, for not watching it. For this, you call yourself a Star Wars fan, and you haven't even watched any of
Oh,
the
there's so
shows.
much media out there for Star
Yeah,
Wars. I'm reading the
but
books too. I'm starting to get all the books, and I'm starting to read all those books.
the moment where Ahsoka Tano for sees goes face to face with Darth Vader for the first time. Ahsoka has a feeling that's Anakin Skywalker, but
Hmm.
she's not sure. She doesn't want to believe that it's him. So, and their dialogue, the first things he said was, uh, I forgot what Ahsoka said, but Darth Vader said, Anakin Skywalker was weak, so I destroyed him.
Hmm.
And Ahsoka said, I will avenge her. I will avenge his death. And then Vader said, revenge is not the Jedi way. And Ahsoka's reply was so perfect. I am no Jedi.
Oof.
Because if you watch the Clone Wars, she got kicked out of the Jedi Order. Or
Yeah.
she left. She didn't get kicked out. She left willingly
Hmm.
because she didn't agree. She stopped agreeing with what they're doing because they became a puppet of the Republic,
Hmm.
and she didn't really agree. So she left, and and that's where her gray Jedi and going balance, and she's a good lawful good. She never really tapped into the dark side, but she's also not a Jedi. It was so beautiful, and then when she found out that it was actually Anakin, you can see her heart drop, and just how hurt she was, and
Hmm.
it was Anakin, because there was a glimpse of Anakin being there, and he just went back to Vader, and it was just, she knows that Anakin is still in there.
Yeah.
And as you can see in episode 6, where Anakin just came back,
Yeah.
that is my favorite Star Wars moment of all time. My number what about you, Jim? What's your number 5?
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna go from top to bottom because I still have
Okay.
to make a list.
Okay. My number 4 is a video game. Is the most recent video game that came out. Is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a story about, I forgot his name. Crap, it's been a while. I played it 2 years ago, and I can't remember his name.
Uh-huh.
But it's very. So he was a Padawan whose master got killed in Order 66, right?
Yeah.
And so he's been in hiding, and then he had an event happen where he had to use his force to save a friend's life, and he got found out. Now he's on a run and trying to rebuild. And then he met another Jedi. I don't want to spoil anything, but he met another Jedi. This is the start. Like, I don't want to spoil what happened in
Yeah,
their
and I'm gonna play
backstory.
the game eventually.
But their plan is to find a holocron that will help them remake the Jedi Order, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's such a good story. It's such a very deep. It's such a refreshing story that's not connected to the Skywalker legacy. It's its own story in the Star Wars universe, and it's really good. My number 3 is The Mandalorian.
Hmm.
I do love it went back to the roots of the Western roots, where it's this lone rider kind of goes around and like being doing saving towns and all that stuff. And it's such a very grounded, beautiful story of just about a father figure and a little kid growing attached to that. And then another great Star Wars moment at the end of season 2. I don't want to spoil it because it's still kind of new, so I don't want to spoil it for
Yeah,
everyone.
no, not for that. But yeah, the
Yeah,
what they did with the Mandalorians and expanded their universe. I mean, Mandalorians play a heavy thing part in like the Mandalorian Wars, why the Jedi did the way what they did, and it
I
won't show in the Mandalorian, but it talks about it a little bit.
I mean, if you watch the Clone Wars and Rebels, Jimmy, there's a lot of Mandalorian
Yeah, I know, and
storylines in
I'm glad that they expanded more into the Mandalorians because before
yeah.
Clone Wars and before Rebels, you only had KOTOR 2, and they also talked about the Mandalorian Wars, and that's why it's on my list.
It's so good because um like you said, in Clone Wars, like Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest, which he did have one, is Mandalorian.
Mm.
He is, crap, I can't remember her name. the girl in the Mandalorian, the red hair girl. Uh, I can't remember her name. I don't know. I should have prepared for the. I'm really bad with
It's
names.
okay.
But she is the heir to the Mandalorian throne. Her sister was killed during the rebellion in Mandalore, uh, which was in Clone Wars, and and then there's Death Watch and all that. It's such a good show, and I feel like in season 3 they are gonna try to take back Mandalore, and with all that,
Oh yeah.
that's where they're gonna go, because they did talk about name drop a lot. There's a lot of Easter egg name drops in Mandalorian that's been on Clone Wars. Because there are a lot of unfinished storylines in Clone Wars that they couldn't finish because they did get canceled, but they did end up getting a final season to tie it up with uh, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Hmm.
But I'll talk about that later when I get to my number one. Like my number 2 is the original trilogy. Obviously,
Yeah.
I still love it. It's such a timely story. But my number 1 is Clone Wars.
Of course.
Clone Wars is amazing, especially the final season. If you're ever like the thing about Clone Wars is it's an anthology series, so you don't really have to watch all of it. Clone Wars is not perfect. There are a lot of fillers that's bad. There are a lot of bad episodes in Clone Wars that you don't have to watch, but it's more Star Wars, so you just watch it
Of
anyways.
course.
Unless there's Jar Jar Binks in it, so just skip it. Like if you see Jar Jar Binks, just like skip episode. You don't need to watch that. But there's so many, like the clones, like if Rex and the 501st, amazing. I love him.
I love the
Ahsoka Tano,
501st.
Ahsoka Tano, my favorite Star Wars character. She is amazing. I love her. She's such a good foil for Anakin. Like as much as unlikable Anakin is in episodes 1, 2, and 3 in the prequels, they kind of fix that in Clone Wars. They
Hmm.
fix his relationship with Obi-Wan. They feel a lot more like brothers in the Clone Wars, and you see that relationship, and you get that context in Episode 3 when the eventual betrayal of Anakin. You feel that a little bit more because you know what they've been through together. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And like I said, that final season they came out in Disney Plus is such a great lead up in to go into Episode 3. And Jimmy, if you like Maul, I don't know why you haven't watched Clone Wars yet, dude.
I know. I hear there's some good
It's
moments with Dark
so
Maul.
like his duel with Ahsoka is one of the best lightsaber duels ever. It's so good. So
Well, I
yeah,
have seen Clone Wars, like the first season, but I loved
yeah.
what I watched of it.
It like Darth Maul is such you. I think you'll appreciate him more even when you follow his storyline in Clone. The thing, okay, here's the thing about Clone Wars, Jimmy. You can find lists on the internet to just find the because you don't have to watch it in order because it's actually when you watch it by episode, it's not
Mhm.
chronological because it's an anthology series. So it's just oh, let's have a storyline here, and actually they're not gonna finish the storyline until season 2. They're just gonna have a different storyline the next episode. So you can find lists on the internet to find like, for example, if you want to watch the full Darth Maul saga, they have a full list of the all 10 episodes that involves Darth Maul, and you can
Yeah.
just follow his whole story. If you want the Mandalorian saga, they have that. If you want the whole Ahsoka saga, you have that. There's so many stories in Clone Wars, and it's so good. That's why I love it so much, and it gives so much life to the universe. I think Clone Wars is what gave so much life into the Star Wars universe.
I love that. I love that whole thing. But yeah, I can appreciate what I've seen so far of the Clone Wars. I'm gonna watch it throughout the entire thing. Um, but yeah, my list. It was hard making this list because I already had a list before a couple years ago, but it changed over
Yeah,
time. Um, just because I rewatched it and shit like that. Number one, obviously, it's gonna be the original trilogy. The original trilogy holds a special place in my heart. It shaped who I am to this day. It gave me one of my favorite moments in life where I actually met Carrie Fisher and she stroked my beard. That was awesome. Nothing's
nice.
ever gonna top that. Nothing. um, But when it first came out, it really did a lot for TV for that time because no one was doing it. It really brought puppeteering like hardcore into sci-fi. It really what they did with the movies just transformed what you could do for a sci-fi fantasy, and that's why I love it so much. It's still to this day nothing's ever gonna rival it. People can say Lord of the Rings, but it's just Star Wars.
No, okay.
No, go on.
No, don't talk. Don't you dare talk about Lord of the Rings right that. But go on.
But first of all, just because they won an Emmy, Leonardo DiCaprio didn't win an Emmy until it was far too late, and like by that
Grammys?
time, whatever, a Grammy, and like he
No,
should have.
no, Academy Awards, Emmys, TV.
He won
Grammys.
something that he should have won a long time ago. Because Leonardo DiCaprio was a great actor. Anyway, the second one's The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian, the story, who they got to play Mando.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal was a great.
He's gonna play.
Fucking,
He's gonna play Joel.
Yeah, he's gonna play Joel for The Last of Us. His whole performance as the Mandalorian, even when he reveals his face, it's really really amazing. Oops, spoilers. But it really doesn't have any near say with the story. But as you know, that story, it's just really good, and I loved it. There's a couple things that pacing. There's like one episode that I didn't care for, but other than that, there was nothing really wrong with The Mandalorian. Really expanded on The Mandalorians. Third one, we're actually going to go to a video game. KOTOR 2. I talked about it earlier. A lot of people could say KOTOR 1, but for me, KOTOR 2 is what really got me more into Star Wars. I played KOTOR 1 after I played 2. And that was what available to me at the time. But KOTOR 2 really explains like just the Force and how it really is. Like, can you feel it? It's like an expanded wave touching and breathing inside of you, creating, destroying. Which ironically, the character who teaches you all that is an evil character at the end. But it's really amazing for that story and pacing. The fourth one. This was really weird for me because this actually was the bottom 8 of my top 10 list, but now it found a way somehow to sneak into number 4. Huh?
Don't say it.
Revenge of the Fifth Sith.
Oh, so episode 3?
No, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. The reason why I loved it so much, it really brings a downfall to the hero story in Anakin Skywalker. The whole build up to it, his whole betrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Order 66 being initialized, really Anakin really falling into the dark side because he really had no choice and he wanted to save Padme. Ironically, that's what kills her. And it really, one of my favorite parts in that movie was the mythos that was talked about in the Opera House scene. That Opera House scene was probably the best part in the prequels because it really talked about the mythos of. Have you heard the story of Darth Plagueis?
So it's a meme now.
It's a meme now, but it's really good. It's really good. A really good fucking story. Now, you're going to be a little bit mad, but this is what I've seen and how it really affects me as a Star Wars movie and what I've seen so far. I'm sure once I've watched all of it, it'll be higher, but for now, Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm not mad. You haven't really watched
I haven't really watched it.
The good chunk of Clone Wars, man. The meat and potatoes. Because the first season is like I'm not gonna lie to you. The first season is a little slow. It is. They haven't found their footing yet on Clone Wars. Also, I just remembered the name of the Mandalorian I was talking about. It was Bo-Katan, sister
Bo-Katan.
of Duchess Satine. Duchess Satine, who is. If you're gonna watch, it's the Clone Wars, but
yeah, of course.
She has a little flirty thing with Obi-Wan. You can tell. So, what I like about this is a little spoiler. It's not really a spoiler. Well, it's a 15-year-old show, Jimmy. You should have watched it a long time ago.
Darth Vader being Luke's father is.
It's your fault.
Commonly known.
But so Obi-Wan and Duchess Satine, I feel like it's a foil to Anakin and Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Where Obi-Wan didn't let his love for Satine kind of ruin his way of the Jedi. And I feel like Obi-Wan regrets it a little bit and in his heart,
Hmm.
but he he knows the Jedi way and he sticks to it, you know. And I that's why I love Obi-Wan because he knows what's right and it's he actually does, especially with you because you don't really get a lot of Obi-Wan in the show. You get him in episode the prequels. That's what the most Obi-Wan you get, but in the
Yeah.
Clone Wars you get to know him way more. And he's such a great character. Like the three main characters in Clone Wars, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, is so great. And you will fall in love with them even more. And when you talk about Revenge of the Sith, leading up to that, if ever, like if you want, you just watch the actually no, because the impact of Ahsoka is that won't be as good if you just
Well, yeah,
watch
you're
the
learning the story of
seven.
Ahsoka as
Yeah,
it's going up.
because Ahsoka's also, her arc is really good. She starts off a lot when she first actually got announced. Nobody liked her, and it was on purpose. A lot
Hmm.
of people, like, she came out as like a bratty, like you've seen the few episodes she was
I've
in,
seen it.
right?
Yeah,
She seems like a really brat,
hot-headed, arrogant,
hot-headed. Yeah,
a
that
teen.
was that was on purpose because they wanted to put her in there, and they want you to start like organically like her as she finds herself, as she grows as a person too. And it's such a well written character. So I highly recommend. Also, I forgot to change my
You
background,
did.
so I'll do that. This is of course Clone Wars.
Of course.
Uh, so yeah, that's my girl right there,
That's your girl.
Ahsoka.
Speaking of your girl, how do you feel about them casting Rosario Dawson as
Amazing.
Ahsoka?
She was amazing. I thought, like, when you see her movements, the way she fights, she obviously they had a choreographer to help her do it, but she nailed the mannerisms of Ahsoka Tano,
Hmm.
and it's really cool to see. Um, oh, of course, there's the issue there of her tendrils. It was a little short, but I think that's just because in real life they had to maneuver. Well, I can't even say the word. She needs to move a little easier
Yeah.
because Ahsoka's race. I'm really bad at these, but her race. She gets older; those things get longer,
Hmm.
and her age right now in the Mandalorian is supposed to be like really long by then, because they get to live a long time.
Yeah.
uh, so I'm surprised they didn't bring her up in the sequels, because a lot of people are theorizing that Ahsoka's going to show up in the sequels.
Sequels, as
You know what I mean?
in.
The episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So the sequels. We can talk about. Okay. What What moment would you change, or moments would you change in the sequels if you could?
Change all of it.
All of
Fuck
it.
that. All of it. I mean, I like the idea of the main character being Ray. I thought it was cool. Finn. I thought Finn should have had a better arc. What they did to Finn was kind of really
Yeah, it wasn't
disappointing.
that. Yeah, it was
It
really
was very
disappointing.
disappointing. There was nothing. He had nothing. They hyped him up so much in the ad, in the ads. I wouldn't even mind if he was force sensitive.
Hmm. I was
Like
kind of hoping that he was force sensitive
yeah,
because,
having two. There's nothing wrong with having two lead characters as force sensitive,
yeah,
and the fact that they had to tie her up to a Skywalker. She's not even a
Palpatine.
Skywalker. She's a Palpatine,
Yeah,
but it is a continuation of the Skywalker. Although it is Kylo Ren that is the Skywalker in the
he
story,
is.
right? I don't know. There's a lot. I thought them teasing Kylo Ray being more gray uh than than just light, and then Kylo Ren also being a little bit to the light side. I like that idea. I hated the stupid kiss in the end.
Oh, dude,
That
that
was so dumb. That was
kiss.
so dumb.
It was unnecessary. What I was hoping throughout the thing was Kylo Ren gets a redemption arc, but Rey actually goes towards the dark side.
Yeah. That's a lot of good idea, but Kylo Ren getting a redemption arc would have been really cool. There's no redemption arc better than Zuko though, so it's gonna be a really hard
Well,
thing.
you can't compare every redemption arc to Zuko. Then everyone's gonna
Yeah,
lose.
yeah. No one's gonna have.
No one's gonna have a chance.
Yeah, but yeah. But right now, it's the shows and the that's really
Carrying
make
the weight of Star
carrying the
Wars.
weight of Star Wars lore. Because even the other movies weren't that like other than Rogue One. Rogue One was pretty good too,
I
but
liked Rogue One. It was nice
I
and
like Rogue
enjoyable.
One. It wasn't
The
perfect.
ending scene was badass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Darth Vader scene.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the best Star Wars moments out there. But I don't think it was perfect. I think it was the best out of all the spin-off
Side stories.
side stories they came out with because I thought the Solo movie was
It was okay.
bad. I thought it was.
There's only 2 side movies so far.
It's Solo, right? I thought they came out with another.
Solo and Rogue
Rogue
One.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
The inclusion of Darth Maul didn't make any sense, especially with what they came out with the Rebels, because at that time Maul would have been dead.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil to you how he died, but at that time he would have been dead.
Yeah.
Wait. Actually, no, it depends on the timeline. I take that back. It could be, but it really there's nothing to go out of it, because with what they did in Rebels, nothing. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Maul being a mastermind, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it wouldn't make any sense
Yeah.
from Darth Maul's spec to be a mastermind.
Yeah, especially what they had in Rebels. I don't want to spoil anything that much, but I'm just saying, watch it. You'll see. Like I said, Jimmy, if Darth Maul is your favorite, you really appreciate his arc. It's really, really good.
Plus, we can't forget the one of the best, I think, fight scenes.
Oh yeah.
Besides Anakin and Obi-Wan and Revenge of the Sith with Phantom Menace, we also got that badass song by John Williams and his fucking
Yeah.
like the Duel of Fates is probably my favorite Star Wars soundtrack. Period.
It's such a good song.
Such
It's
a good fucking song.
When I play D&D, I used to use that on boss battles.
Really?
Yeah, that's how good it is. When I'm DMing, I sometimes use that as boss battles music.
Yeah. Because even, like, people didn't like Phantom Menace. I like parts of Phantom Menace, and I think it doesn't destroy it from being a good movie. There wasn't that really good parts in any of the sequels that I really liked. They destroyed Captain Phasma, which that could have been a badass character.
There's so many stuff they messed up. Like I thought the prequels are bad, but there are, like you said, there are redeemable moments in the prequels. In the sequels, there's really not. There's a lot of things they try to make it epic, but there's no substance behind it.
Yeah.
It was just spectacle without any substance.
It was like, they did this in the last 6 movies. Here's another big ass fucking Star Destroyer. I'm like, okay.
That was just Force Awakens. They just recycled. But like for example, the Lightspeed destroying that Star Destroyer thing, that was just spectacle.
Weird.
Like it didn't make any sense
No.
to me. Like there's so many.
Even
things.
the general's plan to lead everybody across, even though she could have
Yeah.
easily told Poe Dameron about what her plan was,
Yeah,
and she could
And
have
the whole-
lived.
the whole Leia using the Force to get back into the ship things. Like what?
That
It's
okay. So I'm gonna have to eat crow for a second because me and my brother got into a heated argument after we saw that in theaters about Leia being trained by Luke and shit like that. So when it was revealed in the last movie that Leia was trained by Luke, my
she's Force
brother,
sensitive, though.
my brother looks at me like this, like, bitch, I told you so.
Yeah, but it is true.
Yeah.
I think that's what they implied, but that scene still didn't make any sense. Because
No,
she
it
was,
didn't
like,
make any sense.
unconscious and frozen
In space.
in space, and you die in like 2 seconds in space. Come on. But yeah, it's so there's so many things wrong. That's why. So, tell me if you heard this name before, Jimmy. Dave Filoni.
Sounds really familiar.
He is the guy behind the Clone Wars, Rebels, and the Mandalorian. He is Star Wars right now, in my opinion. He's the showrunner for all those.
So
He's the
he's
one.
the guy that stars like Kevin Feige is the MCU.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that that's him. He kind of like he had nothing to do with the sequels,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's not as good. Dave Filoni is so good. Like Ahsoka Tano is his creation, and she has become one of the fan favorites
Yeah.
because of him. And the way he's turning Star Wars in this series of TV shows. Like I said, there you know the old jokes back in the day when people say when you're either a Trekkie or Star Wars fan, right?
Yeah.
People say Star Trek had the better shows, but Star Wars has better movies.
Yeah.
Total opposite now. Total opposite.
Total opposite. Because Star Wars have both.
No,
Well, okay.
because those Star Trek movies that recently came out
The
as
J.J. Abrams
the
ones.
J.J. Abrams one, even though they're not perfect, they're better than the Star Wars movies that just came out.
The sequels,
Like it's
by
not
far,
even
yes.
close.
No, it's
It's
not
not
even
even
close.
close.
They even changed how they did in Star Trek, how they changed the story where it can still work. And they can make a new story. I was hoping for that. Into Darkness was pretty okay. I didn't get the whole love interest between Spock and Uhura, but whatever. We're here to talk about
Yeah,
Star.
but it's yeah, but my point is, even though those are not perfect, they were still entertaining and they were fun.
Oh yeah,
They
I
were
would
good. They
rewatch
were
it all the time.
coherent. Yeah, and you compare it to the recent movies, the sequels and Solo. No, those the Star Trek movies are better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you compare the Star Wars shows to the recent Star Trek shows that came out, um, even though they're pretty good though, the Star Trek shows are pretty good. But I think the Star Wars ones are better.
Okay. Well, I stopped watching Star Trek after Voyager.
Yeah.
That was like years ago, but Voyager had one of my favorite captains, besides Generation with Picard.
Yeah, I you should like I don't I like watch like 2 or 3 episodes a day. It's really easy to watch Clone Wars because like I said it's an anthology series. You don't have to binge it because there like I said there are story beats in each for each arc,
Yeah.
and you don't there's you can find lists on which episodes to watch. You can do that.
I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because that's just how person I would
Yeah.
watch like the entire Naruto or One Piece thing.
But if you do want to watch binge the whole thing, go look at the chronological order, because I think it's better if you want to get the full story and understand it a little easier. Because if you watch it standard, there's so many things that get flown around that it just confuses you if this came first or that came first. And
Did
stuff.
you ever watch the movies in the order that there's a new order that you should watch them, and it makes the story more. It just makes it more like what, like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
no, it goes. Shut up. It goes 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
Oh, because so you won't find out the reveal of Anakin being going into the dark side.
Yeah, until
I guess, but you already fucking know.
you already know, but it's like more like if you
Maybe
want if
if
you're introducing it to someone who hasn't watched it, watch 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, then 6.
But everybody knows Darth Vader is is Luke Skywalker's father.
I
The
was
whole
talking
thing.
about like future people who haven't seen it yet. Like
I guess, like my nephew.
Exactly.
I think he started watching it. I think his dad made him watch it, but
I like
I-
how our generation with the kids are like here's Star Wars. You better watch it, or I'll disown you.
but also, so I want to transition to the Bad Batch. Which
So yes,
you
the Bad Batch
which you need to watch, Jimmy, because
What?
it's so good.
is the premise of the Bad Batch.
So the Bad Batch was introduced in the final season in Clone Wars. The season, it's called it's season 7 technically, but they call it the final season.
Mhm.
I think there's 3 episodes dedicated to the Bad Batch. Because, like I said, in Clone Wars, it is anthology series, and they have mini arcs, and they do that. When I first saw that, I didn't think anything about it. They're a really cool group of characters. They are clones that are genetically
Genetically.
enhanced. Not like it's a failed cloning, but they got enhanced instead, kind of like a failed. it's a failed mutation
Mm.
in their genes when they're cloning. So they have enhanced abilities. There are five of them currently, but there were four in the show. There's Hunter, who is who has enhanced senses, who has enhanced vision, hearing, and he is the leader of the group. He is and all that. There's Crosshairs, who is a sharpshooter and a sniper who's really good. There's Tech, who is really smart and he builds his own gadgets and stuff. And there's shit, I can't remember the big guy's name. I think it's it's Wrecker. It's Wrecker. His name is Wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
He's your generic big strong guy, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's a fifth one that joins them. I don't want to spoil anything because this is a really actually a big plot in the Clone Wars.
I only know the name, so
Echo is the fifth one. You will recognize him if you watch Clone Wars. He used to be a member of the 501st
mm-hmm.
with he served under Rex. But he joined the Bad Batch later on. He was a reg and he's now a cyborg, and that's all I'm going to say. And they I think uh, Clone Group 99 or something like that, which they are an army to themselves. They are very skilled and very good.
Yeah.
They can take down army just by the five of them, and that's the premise. That's who the Bad Batch are. The setting of the Bad Batch is right after. Actually, you start off the season on Order 66.
Ooh.
You come in, Order 66 happens. There's a cameo of a character that's in the other show. That's in Rebels. I'm gonna say it right now. It's fucking Caleb. It's Kanan Jarrus as a kid. He was his real name is Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
He is the main one of the main characters in Rebels. He's a Padawan whose master got killed in Order 66, and he's training Ezra Bridger in Rebels, but he never finished his training. And you see him at the start of Bad Batch, and you see him as a kid, and you see him how he escaped Order 66, and it was a really cool Easter egg cameo that you know who he is, and then he goes into Rebels and he becomes who he is in Rebels.
So so Bad Batch starts immediately as Order 66 goes.
It's not. So it happens in their. It's not a spoiler because it's just the start of the show. They go in. They're in a mission. They got called as reinforcements. They go there. They beat the droids, the clankers, as they call them.
Yeah.
And then once they beat the clankers, they call Order 66, and the inhibitor chips doesn't work on them because they're mutated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so the other clones tried to kill the Jedi, which they did. They killed the Jedi. Kanan's master. They killed her, and that's the start of the show. And then there's a whole bunch. I don't know where it's going. I don't want to spoil anything of what happened in episode 1, because that's literally the first 5 minutes of the first 10 minutes of the show. It's an hour premiere. I really love it. It's really good. The characters are very lovable, and it's charismatic, and it's a good.
So highly suggested. The Bad Batch coming out every, what is it, Saturday?
It's every Friday.
Friday.
They just premiered yesterday because it's Star Wars Day, but new episode will come out
this Friday.
Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got tomorrow to catch up.
Yep.
So is there anything else we could talk about Star Wars wise? I mean, there's probably a lot we could talk about Star Wars.
There's a lot of Star Wars.
There's so much fucking Star Wars all the fucking time. Favorite game?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order.
I'm actually playing Squadrons right now, which has been really fun.
How is Squadrons? I know EA doesn't have the best pop.
This one is actually really good. I don't know if there's any microtransactions. I'm just doing the story right now, which is I don't think you need to pay to win, because that's how EA is. But it's really fun. I am a very bad pilot. I run into stuff a lot.
So you're like me when it comes to anti-Hawkeye and Last of Us.
Yeah, with bows and arrows.
Yeah.
But Jedi Fallen Order is really fun. I think you should stream it, Jimmy. I think you should stream it.
Fallen Order. I'll stream that. Another game I played is Battlefront 2, EA's Battlefront 2. I played the story when it first got announced that you're gonna be part of the Empire, I'm like, hell yeah, this is gonna be awesome. But then it became something else, and I got very disappointed. It didn't make any sense. The pacing at which it happened did not make any sense at all. Did you play the storyline in Battlefront 2?
No, I try to
It
avoid EA games.
it's so
I'm not
bad.
I'm not a big except actually it's funny because uh Jedi Fallen Order is still owned by EA, but
Hmm.
it was a different studio that made it.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah. Also, another thing about Star Wars that really touched my life, because I made a lot of good friends. I used to go to a bar in Las Vegas called Millennium
Ah, I
Fandom.
love that bar.
Yeah, Millennium Fandom. I found a group there that we played Star Wars RPG.
Hmm.
So and we played it for 2 years. My character his name was Cthulhu, and he was a Mon Calamari sniper.
Love that.
Yeah, and it was such a good time. I remember we had a frig crap. I can't remember. It's not the Millennium Falcon. I forgot what's the name of the the white. It's a
X
YT. No, it's a YT. YT something.
bomber.
No, it's a frigate.
Right. Oh,
It is a
okay. Yeah.
cargo ship. It's a big ship. That's our main. That's our main kind of like ship that we go around and stuff.
Mhm.
We named it Yeti because it's YT and it's Yeti, and it was such a fun time. It was being immersed in that universe kind of stuff. Yeah,
A lot of Star Wars, like a lot of fandoms of different things, really brings people together. But I think Star Wars does the biggest of doing it because it could be 100 years from now, people are still going to be talking about Star Wars and all the media that comes out. Um,
what I
did you
like
ever play the tabletop game?
there's a lot.
Okay, did
The,
you
the
ever
one I
play
just talked.
the
There's
little
the one I just talked about.
figurines?
The one I just talked about is a tabletop
Oh,
game.
really? No, this is the one.
It's an RPG game.
It's
It's like
like
D&D.
Warhammer.
Yeah. Oh no, I haven't
Oh, you
played
played this?
it. I did play there was a Starship one.
Yeah,
I
that's the one.
Yeah, I played it. I played that
Okay,
one.
it's really good. I love those little figurines, just like Warhammer, like building armies and advancing to a thing. I also got Star Wars Risk. That's a thing. And there's
It's just Risk, but Star Wars.
exactly. There's another thing I own is Star Wars Episode 1 Monopoly, which is the only thing Star Wars I have that's still wrapped in its case. I haven't unlocked it yet for some reason or another.
I think we should play some Star Wars RPG, Jimmy, or just D&D in general. Because when you said that there's no better thing to get people together, other than that, D we gotta play D&D.
D&D, no, I'm down for
We gotta-
D&D.
We gotta play some D&D.
I know.
You don't understand the camaraderie that you create when you play with people for.
Of course I do. Well, not 2 years,
Fucking-
but I've played like
fucking beautiful.
an episode once, and it was pretty baller.
One
I
of-
played a mage, and he had this ability where
One
he
of my
go on.
one of my friend's characters died, and it was such a bummer because you're so used to that character, and then you had to make a new one. It was
Mhm.
like, and you gotta RP it. Like we kind of like, oh no, you're new to the group. We know you're not cool. That kind of stuff. No, it's really fun. Yeah.
I love that. But
Yeah.
this was episode 5. We officially have our new name. My producer is giving me the and so we are talking nerdy with Jimmy and Karlo. Be sure to join us every Wednesday at 11, or just check it on YouTube if you want to see us on Twitch. They will be down in the section below.
Make
as
sure you,
always.
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, and also check us both out on Twitch. Also, if you liked any of the thumbnails, they are designed by Karlo here. I just moved some buttons to make them look all fancy. But thank you everyone for... What's up?
It's what I do for a living.
It's
Jimmy.
what he does for a living. So everyone, thank you once again. We will see you all next week. Cheers, you nerds.
May the force be with you.